Ooh. Let's go.
Let's go. What a day.
Unbelievable day. Welcome into the Toyota Lounge, driven by your front range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. So much to get to. Zay just made the roster, though.
Let's go, Zay. Shout out, Zay. Yeah. I mean, we knew, like, from Jump Street that that man belonged in the NFL. We watched him, do it all last season. Mm-hmm. We talked about him being like a second or third round pick at one point, and then he gets the injury. It really hurts him. He has to do his own pro day. Like, obviously doesn't get nearly the attention he would have gotten if he was at the Senior Bowl or the Combine. Ends up going undrafted, which was so disappointing at the time. But he lands on a Cardinals team where we're like, this is a good spot for him. He has a really good chance to make this roster. And then all he did was ball. Like, from day one of camp, we're just hearing good reports about Xavier Weaver every day. And obviously Twitter is a lot more algorithmic now, but like I felt like I was just seeing at least one thing a day of a different Cardinals reporter being like, wow, Xavier Weaver's balling.
Yep. Practice clips, and then he goes out in these preseason games and does what he does best and does what we know he can do, which is ball out. Special teams too.
It was cool watching him against the Broncos on Sunday too. And just like seeing it with our own eyes.
Yep.
I mean, he was really consistent in that game, and it was clear he had become a favorite target of both Clayton Tune and Desmond Ridder.
Yep. So shout out to Zay. Big play Zay has made the 53-man roster for the Arizona Cardinals, and I think he's going to play. I think he might be their starting returner.
I mean, the way they were using him in the preseason sure made it seem like it, and he had 3 or 4 good kick returns with the new format. So,
yep. Okay, to the big news from today, though. If you saw the video on Twitter and you saw it right before this show went live, we're hitting the road.
We are hitting the road, eastbound and down.
Yes, sir.
I was listening to that song today. I was listening to a little Willie Nelson, On the Road Again. Man, you guys, I mean, I think you actually do know how much work has gone into this, because I've been talking about it since
a lot.
January, and I felt guilty about that at a certain point, because I was like, man, we're not going to be able to announce this as soon as I thought we were. But it has been a long time coming, and as I said on Twitter, I was like, this essentially was a response to the response we got from this fan base last season. And I was just thinking to myself, like, we can't make enough content. I remember at the spring game, we just went live on YouTube from a phone.
Yeah.
And just like walked it around at the tailgate, and it did like 14,000 views. Yeah. And I was just like, oh man, like this community, this group of people just wants as much content. They want to, there's people from all over the world that want to feel closer to this team. And it's one of our big goals is to always feel like we can bring people closer to it. So that inspired this. And I was actually telling someone the other day just like how inspired I have been as a content creator by this fan base.
Yeah.
And it's because they support and hype up and watch and consume everything. So it allows, it just forces you to keep thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So I came up with this idea, talked about it with you guys. I mean, we were talking about it, at the Utah game? Maybe even before that?
I think before that, because I think we had already gone on most of our road trips, and you were talking about how sick it would be to go to every game in this bus that it's like our content hub.
Yes. And so I started planning that. And you guys should know one thing about me. I hate planning things. Really, really do. But
says the guy who also just launched a market, too.
Those are great though, because Allie's the planner, and we have all this other team. They just tell me what to do, and I can usually execute it. This one, I'm like, if I want this to happen, I got to really take like control of it and make it happen. So I wrote like a 2,000 word document of what I wanted to do and gave it to our sales staff, and was like, please make this happen to me, or I might just retire from content creation. I want this so bad. And credit to them, man. They've been on the grind, like I said, since January. Not only locally, but they passed it around to all of our different sales directors nationally at all of our different markets. So they all helped out on it. We brought in like Marissa to run operations on this. It was just this huge team effort that everyone, like, I feel like, matched my energy on. Was like, okay, this is gonna be really cool. You'll learn more soon about all the sponsors that we were able to secure for it, but it's just really cool to see all of that come together, and it's a credit to you guys for honestly supporting us in the ways that you have, and giving us the platform to go to big sponsors and say, we have this huge idea, we know we're gonna have the audience, like, can you help us put this on? And so true team effort.
100%. Shout out to the whole team. Shout out to you, man. I mean, you did the damn thing.
Thank you, bro.
It was a ton of work, too. I know it was. And you made it happen. So we're very appreciative for you.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you. And it's going to be incredible. I mean, we're setting this thing up with Starlink so that we can be live anytime. So we're going to hit the road. We're going to press live. We're going to be streaming Twitch, playing, CFB 25 against each other from the bus. We're going to be creating like behind the scenes vlogs with RG. Yep. We're going to go try and test out like the number one food spot that everyone says in each city we go to and rank them against each other. We have so many plans for the content. Obviously, we're going to have, players hop on once we're in the city of the game and, maybe play some CFB 25 with them, or just do, like a 21 question style video, all that stuff. It's going to be, hopefully, I hope at some point you guys say, all right, enough is enough. We can't take this much content, but I have a feeling you won't.
Nah, straight to the top, man. And then also you're back.
I am back.
You opened up a market in Dallas. Great job. Emergency show first day.
Dude, yeah, that's insane. Shout out to the team out there. They're really good.
They are really good.
Super good team. It's incredibly exciting. It's always a grind to launch these things, but that first day when everyone's just like ready to go, just rearing to go, is so cool. So shout out to Dallas. I know we have lots of Cowboys fans and stuff. We can see the numbers, so I know there's a lot of you guys that are watching this show in Dallas. So if you haven't already, go subscribe to DLLS Sports on YouTube. Also follow them on Twitter and check them out. We got some really, really great content creators over there.
Yep. So shout out to you, the Toyota Chat viewers, listeners, for bearing with me as you went and opened a new market.
And shout out to you for holding it down. A lot of shout outs. And one more shout out.
Yes.
Our guy Petros from Goonsville Clothing is here, man. Yeah. We had an awesome conversation before the show just about like, his brand and what he's trying to put together, and the clothes. You guys have seen Neely rocking it, and I'll be honest, I was kind of jealous. I was like, damn, what's going on? Like, where's he getting this stuff? I actually thought originally, I didn't tell you this, but I thought originally it was like a Mississippi like company or something that he had a relationship with going back. But Petros reached out to me on Instagram one day, and just said he loved the show, and so we got together today. He hooked us up with some hats and one of those sick new hoodies. If you haven't seen the new hoodies, they absolutely pop off. So check them out, goonsvilleclothing.com. Appreciate you coming through, man.
Shout out
and
Petros.
We'll talk more someday about all of the cool things he's got going on.
Definitely. So yeah,
and like a true Colfax guy, which I respect.
Yes, definitely.
Once you like work at DNVR, you learn a new appreciation for Colfax. He's got like a connection to Pete, which if you know Colfax, you know Pete, and it's I love it. I love it. He knows the spot down here.
Yep. We'll be decked out in Goonsville stuff. Let's get on with the show then.
Let's do it.
Today is the day. People have been asking us since February, January.
Yep.
What's your record prediction for this team?
Yep. Even when I go on other shows.
Yep.
I'm like, I'm not ready to reveal that.
Yep. Who's going to be the guy that you guys have your eyes on? The freshman, the transfer. Who's going to make the Big 12 title game? All that today. Let's start. Offensive Player of the Year. Are we including?
Yes, we have to.
Okay.
Offensive Player of the Year is going to be Shedeur Sanders.
Yes, it will be.
And I want to talk a little bit more about Shedeur later. Well, actually, we could do it now.
Yeah,
if we want to play that. We'll finish talking about Shedeur and then we'll play that because the quote from what's his name?
Tim Pulasic.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I was scared to mess it up out of respect. The quote from Tim Pulasic on Shedeur Sanders was maybe the most ball-knowing quote I've ever heard about Shedeur Sanders.
Yep.
Even more than you or I.
Yeah, he did his homework.
Yeah,
man.
no, he really watched Shedeur Sanders, but we're going to see a all-time season, definitely for the Buffs. Mm-hmm. And I potentially would say for college football from Shedeur Sanders this year. Obviously, Travis is going to make a big impact. I think there's going to be some fun, like dark horse candidates for who could win this. But in the end, you're going to see a ridiculous season from QB1 back there this year, and I can't wait to see it.
You're going to see the best season a quarterback has ever performed in a Colorado Buffaloes uniform this year.
I would almost be willing to guarantee that.
I practically am. I mean, he's extremely motivated coming into this year. He knew what he had to work on. He's got the reinforced offensive line. He's got more weapons around him now, which, man, if you go back to last year's team and just said, okay, you lose Zay, you lose some of these guys, you get to keep, Travis and all them, and you just roll it over, this would still be one of the most lethal wide receivers in the country. But they go out, they get LeJontay, they get Will Shepard, they bring in Draylon and Cam. Shedeur is just he's going to light up scoreboards across the country, and he's going to set CU records this year.
It's going to be a good time. Can we play that clip of
Tim Pulasic?
I was going to get it. Bro.
Okay.
I was going to get it. Tim Pulasic. Did you see NDSU fans are upset that Coach Prime had to ask for the pronunciation? They were reaching.
They always are.
But let's hear from him.
Yeah. 4 weeks ago, getting started on this process, everybody's asking about Colorado. My mind, just went to off-schedule plays, him making things happen, outside the pocket or, off schedule, right? He's the best player that NDSU has played yet. Okay, and I really believe that. This guy is process-oriented. He's progression-based. He's aware of footwork and timing and rhythm. He takes what the defense gives him. Okay, he goes to the right spots, and then on top of that, he can play off a platform, different platforms. I think he has a great ability. Probably in my opinion, his strongest suit is that he can get his cleats in the ground and deliver the ball quickly when he has to. And that has a positive effect on RPOs. That has a positive effect on relief type plays, a run with relief. He's impressive. If you were to line up and show him a three-man rush, he's going to buy time back there, and hit second and third level throws that are uncommon, with great accuracy and deep crossers and those kind of things. Some of his best plays are the simple play of throwing the ball away as well. I admire Shedeur from the standpoint that he's playing the position the way it's always been intended to play. Rhythm, timing, footwork, all matching up. And then you put on top of that the ability to extend plays looking to throw. He's not a runner first, but he is capable. But extending plays and keeping his eyes downfield is pretty impressive. It's exciting. I think our fans should be excited and should appreciate that they get to see one of the top, a first-round draft pick at quarterback get to play against the Bison.
Is he better in the pocket than you thought then?
Once you sit down, right, like I mentioned to Sam, I think we were talking, Pro Football Focus has all these cool different cut-ups, and I was able to pull his best 250 plays. And then you start to really have an appreciation for He's playing the position. There's a lot of guys that are really good, they're really scary, that just are making throws or they beat you with their feet. He is playing the spot. I just several times found myself back in the quarterback coaching chair and like bump, 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 bump. I mean, there's some rhythm there and there's some tempo, and you got to appreciate it.
So we played this yesterday with Scott, and Scott kind of shared some insights. He's a former college quarterback himself, but again, the work that Tim Pulasic has put in, he knows Shedeur Sanders.
Oh, yeah.
They're not going to be surprised by what they see from him on Thursday.
No, and I give so much credit to Coach Pulasic, and after this week, I'll be rooting for them moving forward. Except for, I don't know, some of their fans are annoying. Anyways, because he kind of admitted that he didn't know Shedeur Sanders before he started watching him. He said, I thought it was going to be a lot of off-script thing, and I think it's common for people who haven't watched to think, oh, this is Deion Sanders' son playing quarterback. Mm-hmm. Like, he's going to be running all over the yard and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And we talked about this from the first time we ever talked about Shedeur on this show. It's like, no, like he plays the position. As a coach said, the way it was intended to be played. I mean, what a compliment.
Yep.
And you think about the fact that Shedeur models his game more than anyone after Tom Brady.
Yep.
And that's what made Tom Brady so elite, among other things. But it was so refreshing to hear a coach actually talk about it, not just say it, because it's not that as if coaches haven't said nice things about Shedeur before. Most, if not all of them, do before they play Colorado. But for him to actually break it down and talk about his footwork, his timing, his rhythm, his understanding of the game, like all of the stuff that we really try to bang the drum about and what makes Shedeur great, hearing it from a coach who probably has watched every throw he's made now in college. He's had enough time to do that. Was very, very, very refreshing, and it's almost like everyone should be on notice.
Yes.
Because he's going to take that to a new level.
Yep, 100%, man. All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll get back to our predictions. Shout out to our friends over at Breckenridge Brewery. The homies, really. Come down to the DNVR bar, hang out with us. If you cannot make it to our tailgate and to the game on Thursday and you are in the area, come down to the DNVR bar and hang out. It's going to be packed with Buffs fans. Everyone's going to be enjoying some Breck brews. We got them on tap as well here. You can check out their new West Coast style IPA. It's called the Ridge Runner. It's a double dry hop brew inspired by the untamed beauty of Colorado's trails and creates notes of bright citrus and pine. You can find that and every other beer from Breckenridge Brewery with their beer locator at www.breckbrew.com.
Also, shout out to our friends over at Mint Mobile.
Hell yeah.
Get in on their new customer offer and a new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month. Go to mintmobile.com/buffs. That is mintmobile.com/buffs. You can cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/buffs. And guys, I mean, I've been guilty of this as well. Like, you just kind of get into a cycle where you pay for something and you don't even realize how much more you are paying for it than you need to be paying for it. And these companies who have been doing it for forever kind of just have a monopoly on people like I was, just kind of coasting through. Same thing with like cables. Like all of a sudden your cable bill ends up being like over $200 a month. And you're like, what is happening here? And then you cut the cord and you're like, wow, I did not realize I was getting taken over the coals like this. And this is an exact example when it comes to your phone bill. So hit up our friends over at Mint Mobile. Go to mintmobile.com/buffs to cut your wireless bill up to $15 a month, or down to $15 a month.
Shout out Mint Mobile. Shout out Breck Brew. Back with our predictions for the season. This one will be, I think, a little more interesting, but still Travis. Defensive Player of the Year.
Give me BJ Green.
Hell yeah.
Give me BJ Green, man. I had a conversation with someone within the program recently about BJ Green, and it was something that I think we've kind of mentioned on this show, but the term they used was gear. They said he has a different gear when it comes to rushing the passer. And, you think back to certain players and certain people that you've seen rush the passer, a lot of people do it with skill. And it's not to say BJ Green doesn't have skill, because he does. But like other guys just do it with will. And that's what I think makes BJ Green special. Mm-hmm. He can will his way to the passer. And there's like a certain type of guy who, when he gets his hands on you, there's so much violence and explosion in what he's doing that there's just like nothing you can't match that as an offensive lineman. Yep. And so I think that he's going to make some really, really big plays. And I'm also trying not to just go chalk across the board here. Call my shot a little bit. I think BJ Green and this whole pass rush group is going to be special, but I have a really great feeling about him.
I like that pick a lot. Again, Travis is who he is. I mean, the whole defense is designed around him, so I think that's the easy pick. So with that being said, I'm going to pick Trevor Woods.
All right.
I think that, the story about him changing his body, adding weight, and all the rave reviews, honestly, that we've heard from him in his second year, I guess, second year at linebacker. He's still learning the position, but he's starting to figure it out now. We've heard about how he's really gotten good at lurking and underneath coverage, reading the quarterback's eyes, and just hitting that window to make a play on the football the other way. I think we're going to see a lot of that from him. He's got a nose for the football. Going back to my first year in 22, he had a nose for the football. He had a nose for football against TCU.
And CSU.
Sealed the game against CSU. I think we're going to see a lot of that this season.
I'm with King Mars. Trevor needs a neck roll. I wanted to tweet at him, but I don't think he has Twitter anymore.
He does not.
So I can't pass that message along. Do we have an overall player of the year? If not, I'm doing it right now.
MVP, sure.
Travis Hunter. We can't go through this without talking about Travis Hunter. This man is going to be on the highlight reels damn near every week.
I mean, this is going to be, I think, one of those seasons like, Reggie Bush type, like Christian McCaffrey, where you think about like that year in college football, you think about a certain player. He's going to be this year's player.
I love that so much. And I mean, as everyone knows, those guys only do highlights on one side of the ball. Last year, Travis's best highlights actually came on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Because he does things that you've just never seen people do before. But I agree with you. I don't think people realize that Travis was never really Travis after the injury.
We got him for the first 2.5 games last year.
Yeah, like the true Travis.
Yes.
And TCU, I think, was the most, it was the most obvious, like, this guy is
pure domination.
Absolutely out of this world. And he did it in every facet of the game. And I think you're going to see that again this year. I pray he can stay healthy. But if he does, like you said, that Reggie Bush like cutback run against Fresno State, like just little like highlights like that, he's going to compile an insane one, and I can already see it in my head during every draft preparation show. Just this reel, Travis Hunter doing the most ridiculous things, playing underneath Mel Kiper and whoever, breaking down the draft.
Yeah. Can't wait. That's the easy pick for MVP. He's what this roster's really built around. Honestly, it's built around Travis Hunter's versatility. His, rare two-way ability, his athleticism, that's going to allow them to do so many different things that other teams in the country just won't be able to do because they don't have a player that caliber. I mean, maybe they do, but it's only one side of the ball, He affects both sides of the ball so greatly. And, yeah, man, you're going to see a lot of his highlights from this year and, like, all-time CFB reels, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree.
All right, next prediction, freshman of the year. Who are you going with?
Give me Draylen Miller.
Okay.
That is a tough question. Because I won't say who, if you're going to go. Are you going to go a different direction?
Yes.
Okay. Draylen Miller, again, we talked about it a lot. First of all, I don't know how many opportunities there are, but I think that there's going to be legitimate plays designed for Draylen Miller to just go out there and beat Draylen Miller. We talk about kind of like the Deebo Samuel type. I think you're going to see that. Could potentially even see like a wildcat package where they're giving direct snaps to Draylen Miller. I saw a bunch of people posting with 2 days left today. You know, of course, you get the Shedeur jersey post, but the other one is Laviska Shenault. That's a high bar to reach, but I think at least when it comes to players who are like Laviska Shenault, Draylen Miller is the closest thing they've had since him, just in terms of that like combination of speed and power and just overall force out there on the field. So I think you're going to see him get opportunities and be able to do some really cool things out there for this offense.
Yeah, there's a clear, I think, top 3 for this category. Yep. And I was probably going to pick him too, but since you did, I feel like I have to go Jordan Seaton.
Okay.
His impact on this offensive line is, I think, why we feel so confident. Of course, you know, you have the veterans coming in the portal, but we've got a cornerstone on this offensive line now. And it's not just for this year. It's for the next 3 years. Watching his growth this season, again, it's probably going to be rocky. There's probably going to be some matchups where it's like, all right, Jordan just lost that rep. Like, it is what it is. But I think the story, in terms of freshman of the year, the story for Jordan is going to be his whole entire progression. And I think we're going to be talking about a completely different player in December than we are right now.
I love that you finished with that. And I do just constantly want to preach patience when it comes to Jordan Seaton. You know, I was listening to, oh gosh, I'm going to forget their name. Never mind. I'm going to go a different direction. It's going to take Jordan a minute to fully settle in, and that's okay. That's what should be expected of a true freshman playing left tackle in Power 4 football. That being said, he also has the physical ability to survive out there and thrive out there early in the season. And the one thing that I'll add to what you're saying is the way the schedule shakes out actually is very beneficial to Jordan Seaton. It essentially, the schedule gets progressively harder as the season goes on. It does. And so if he's playing his best ball of the year in November and December, it's going to be huge for the Buffs. And if so, when we're looking back at the end of the season, I almost guarantee we'll be naming him freshman of the year.
Yep.
But I went with Draylen just mostly in part because I want people to be patient with Jordan.
No, for sure. We're going to be talking about, he's going to be a big topic, I think, the next 12, 13 weeks. And we're going to watch every snap very closely, but again, kind of with that, let's not be overcritical for a true freshman who was playing high school kids 10 months ago.
Absolutely.
And then shout out to Micah Welsh. I think he's the easy third for that one. This backfield is something that we're going to really find out on Thursday for sure, and that's just the first taste. I think this is an evolving process for this backfield in terms of the share of carries, and the share of snaps. And so, maybe he's like second half freshman of the year or something like that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I find it to be no coincidence at all that Dallin Hayden was on the coach's show today.
Yep.
And I think, to me, that tells me he's solidified his spot in the rotation for week 1. I think you're going to see a heavy dose of Dallin and Charlie in week 1. And hopefully the game is in a position where then you get Micah, in the third, fourth quarter, get him some carries. But I think you are going to see Dallin and Charlie handle the load on Thursday. But kind of just like Jordan Seaton, by the end of the year, you could really see Micah, making an impact in that room.
Yep. All right, let's hit a break real quick then. And then we can wrap up. We still have some news to get to as well. Shout out to our great friends over at Game Time. There are still tickets available for Thursday's game, and there are limited tickets available for multiple games throughout this season. If you want to come to that CSU game, head up our friends over at Game Time, and they will take care of you. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use that code BUFFS, BUFFS, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. Create an account. Use the promo code BUFFS, BUFFS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time.
Game time. Also, more than just games, events, concerts, whatever's going on in your city. Check out Game Time. Yeah,
absolutely. And they have a fun new feature called Game Time Picks.
Yep.
Where you can kind of filter out. They'll just show you the best deals, so you can kind of filter out the noise.
Yep. Alyssa's showing you the way it works right there.
Oh, hell yeah. Also, shout out to Circle K.
Hell yeah.
I've been wanting to say this for so long.
I know.
But Circle K is going to be absolutely fueling us on our road
Literally.
trip. Yeah, on the Great American Stampede. They are literally going to be fueling us. They have chipped in to help us pay for gas on the road trip, which is one hell of a homie move from Circle K. But also, you better believe we're hitting Circle K before we set sail on any trip out anywhere, so we can load up on snacks. And I've also been told we have our own little mini Circle K snack cart that's going in the bus.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So big shout out to Circle K. Like you've probably heard us say at the end of one of these ads for a while now, like, and more to come with Circle K. Well, there it is. We're gonna try and keep track of how many Circle Ks we hit, like a baseball strikeout counter.
Yes, hell yeah. Can't wait. Inner Circle?
Yeah, check out Circle K. Become an Inner Circle Rewards member to get discounts from Circle K. That's www.circlek.com/inner-circle.
All right, we've got 4 more here. Transfer of the year. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of options here.
Yeah.
You got to pick one.
I already went defense I already used a transfer for my defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
So let me go on offense here and take Will Shepherd.
I like it.
Love Zay. So happy for Zay. But I think Will Shepherd in that same position can just be a little bit of a different guy for Shedeur that can help Shedeur maximize his accuracy. And I've talked about this before, but that back shoulder combination between Will Shepherd and Shedeur is going to be one of the most lethal plays in college football this year.
I almost feel like I have to take LeJontay now because you took Will, but I'm actually going to take Preston Hodge.
Oh, okay.
I think he's going to skyrocket up draft boards. He's going to lock down the opposite side of the field from Travis Hunter. I think you're going to see him hit with a lot of targets, so he's going to get a lot of opportunities this season, and he's going to have some production on the football. He's going to knock down passes. He's going to get interceptions. He's a very smart player, and I think he is more than ready to play at this level of college football.
It's such a hard one. Maybe if I could go in a time machine, I might go back and pick LeJontay Wester right now. But, I think when it comes to touchdowns, Will is going to rack them up, which helps you win awards.
And then, shout out Dallin, shout out Terrell Timmons, who's made an impact so far.
BJ Green, Sammy Sachs, Dayon Hayes.
We can go on and on and on and on. DJ McKinney, there's so many. Position coach of the year.
Okay. Let me go Jay Phil. Wide receivers. He's blessed with an incredibly talented room. But I think those guys are going to ball out.
I think I have to take Phil Loadholt here.
Nice.
It was between him and Damian Lewis / Warren Sapp / Vincent Dancy for me.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take
like a
Phil.
3-headed monster.
They're grouping them all together now, so I got to group them all together too. I think Bartolone's a good one too as well. I think the tight end's going to have a big impact this season with Sam Hart. But the story is going to be the offensive line, and it's going to be how the offensive line is improved, how this team's able to run the football, protect Shedeur Sanders, and we're going to see that sack total dramatically cut down, and Phil Loadholt's going to get a lot of praise. So
that would be massive. And if Phil Loadholt has a great year as a coach and his unit has a great year, I guarantee you Jay Phil's units is going to have a great year as well.
Definitely. We got 2 left. You tell me what order we do these. The record prediction and then Big 12 championship game prediction.
Let's go records.
Record prediction. 12 games. Where are you going to go?
I have thought so much about this. And I've gone back and forth. And I do think it's notable that last year we both, I believe, said 6-6.
Yes, we did.
So people are gonna say, "Oh, you guys are, just homers," which you're right. At least about me. And
I've gotten that too.
Think I'm, going crazy here. But last year, we were actually very realistic and a couple bounces away from being spot on.
Hell yeah, we were.
So this year I'm going 9-3.
Okay.
And I don't know exactly where the 3 are going to come from because I think every game is winnable.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know that in football it never works that easily. So, there's going to be a lot of close games. And I think that this is the classic. I've talked about it a million times, but I'll say it one more time. First you lose big, then you lose close, then you win close, then you win big. This is the win close year. And there's going to be a lot of close games, and I think even the losses are going to be really, really close. The games are going to be fantastic, but when I look at it and I look at the talent of this team, and the defense is what pushed me to 9 here.
Mm-hmm.
The defense is going to, I think, win some games on their own so that it doesn't have to be the Shedeur show every single week.
Yep.
Then you add in a running game. If you add in a running game, maybe the running game wins you a couple games on their own. But when push comes to shove, and you're telling me that the game's close in the fourth quarter, I want Shedeur Sanders with the ball in his hands, and I think he's going to go win a bunch of games for them this year in those situations. So I'm going 9-3.
I'm also 9-3.
We matched it last year.
We picked these independently too. I'm not just trying to follow you.
We had zero conversations about this.
I thought about changing my pick just to be different in the last minute, but I think I'm just going to stick with my original prediction. That's 9-3. I look at this road slate for this team, and that's usually where a lot of the losses come in college football. I think they're a better team than Nebraska. I think they're a better team than Colorado State. I think they're a better team than UCF. I think they're a better team than Arizona. Texas Tech, I think they're a better team and I think they're better than Kansas. I think it comes down to games like against Utah, Oklahoma State, Kansas State. Those are all at home. And then potentially road games, UCF, Arizona.
And anything can happen on the road in college football.
For sure.
Anything can happen in any game of college football.
I just look at this team's overall talent level. I look at their best players. I look at the Big 12's best players. And Colorado just holds the edge almost every single time.
I mean, when it comes to the best players on the field, they are going to have a distinct advantage at the top end every single week.
Mm-hmm.
I also just think it should be noted because one season makes a lot of people forget. Coach Prime just wins, man. Everywhere he's gone, he finds a way to win. Last season, 4-8 is an anomaly over the life of Coach Prime. And I think that the work, after last season, he was able to survey the team and know exactly what they needed to go forward. And they attacked that with a lot of intensity.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear, Coach Prime said it today. He said he slept in his house 2 times since fall camp started. This man is willing to do anything for this team to win this year. And history would tell us that he's going to find a way to succeed.
When he had the video that came out on social, what was it, Saturday night, when they were practicing under the lights at the lower practice fields, and he was just talking about how it was the best practice they've had so far.
Did he choke up a little bit there?
That's what I'm saying, man. He feels it with this team. This is something special that's brewing in Boulder right now. And I think a lot of the players can sense it. I think the coaches can definitely sense it. And I think we in the fan base can sense it as well.
Yep.
This is going to be a year to remember.
Amen. And I guess that segues us into it. I think that record gets you a spot in the Big 12 championship game.
Who are they playing?
I think they're going to be playing Oklahoma State.
I think there will be a Week 10 rematch with Utah for the Big 12 title game.
Oh. Could you imagine? The Big 12 traditionalists would hate this.
Mm-hmm.
Colorado and Utah walk in and meet in the title. That would be like Oregon and Washington meeting in the Big 10. They would hate that too.
Yep.
Man, that would be a hell hell of a way to get the rivalry that the Pac-12 always wanted going.
Wouldn't it be ironic, though, if that's the way it happened?
So you got Utah, huh?
Yes. I think Utah is going to be one of the best teams in this conference, and I think Cam Rising will be just fine.
I don't know.
Like a year and a half off.
I know. I don't know why I just have this gut feeling that they're not going to they're going to stumble for some reason. There's no basis behind that because I think from a coaching and team standpoint, they're probably the most complete team in the Big 12. When it comes to the trenches and, you know, how they recruited and all of that stuff. But I don't know. I just have I don't know what it is. I have a feeling that they're not going to be, maybe they get like 3rd or 4th in the conference.
So you've got a rematch the week after with Oklahoma State then. It's the last game of the season.
That would be wild.
That'd be cool.
It would be cool. I wonder if there's a situation there where like one team doesn't need it. Like they're already in.
Right.
So they don't show anything in the last game, and they end up actually losing the game, which lets the other team in, and then it's like a whole new situation the next week.
Absolutely.
Would you do that?
Why not?
So let's say you've clinched a spot in the new, this is an interesting conversation.
Power
in the
4
new
winners
college
in
football.
AQ.
Yes, in the new college football. At the same time, though, you're putting a lot of stake in making or winning the Big 12 championship game. But
that's the only path.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, what's the point, honestly? Okay. Especially if you're banged up, you don't want to show anything. You know you have a rematch already.
So let's say Colorado's 9-2.
Okay.
They've clinched a spot in the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State come into town. You just rest the starters.
Yes.
That would be so fascinating, and also it would be incredible.
I mean, the AQ changes everything, man.
I think if the Buffs went, I guess 10. All right, I don't know. We don't know what it's like, but I think they could get an at-large bid just by being up there because of all of the attention and all of that stuff.
I mean, so here's the thing. Top 4 teams get a bye, right? And it's not conference winners are the automatic top 4 teams. It's the top 4 in the CFP ranking. So if say Colorado is 9-2, headed into this game, you're already secured your spot in the title game. Oklahoma State has to win or whatever to get in, whatever the case is. And you're already ranked like 12, 11, 10, 9. Like, you're already at the bottom of seeding anyways.
Yeah.
You're going to have to play the weekend after anyways.
Worst case scenario would be you play to win and lose. Mm-hmm. And now they're extra confident going into playing you the next week.
Yep. I don't know. I mean,
it's a fun conversation. We're putting the cart way ahead of the horse, but it is interesting to think about.
Well, this isn't, I mean, beyond Colorado, this is going to relate to every championship game this year. Every single one. Like, even G5. Like, say the G5 team is 11-0. They've already locked in their title game spot. Like, why would you play the last week? You just have to win your title game, and you're in.
That's why I was saying 3rd place in the SEC is the best possible place to be.
I mean, that's definitely going to happen, too.
Oh, yeah. Like, you think someone's going to
I don't know
throw a game to get 3rd?
That. I think that you still want a potential SEC title crown. Because that obviously, as we've seen in this playoff era, that carries weight. Maybe some years it doesn't actually, but SEC just has different rules.
Yep. Also, shout out to all of the haters in the comments talking about how crazy we are. You are helping us go on an RV trip, so appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Run up those views.
Use code DNVR. We're seen fit.
We're seen fit.
You want to talk about what Coach said on the Coaches Show about Shedeur, his communication with Shedeur?
A thing I had not thought about once. Coach Prime talking about the in-helmet communication started by saying Pat Shurmur will be able to talk to Shedeur in his headset, and then added, and me. And I find that to be incredibly notable, and I'll tell you why, Jake. I spoke with someone who works on the Coach Prime documentary last year. And their job one game was to mic up Coach Prime on the sidelines and essentially listen to everything he said, take notes, the clips they wanted to pull that they could use in that episode. And what they told me was that Coach Prime essentially predicts every play before it happens.
Yep.
And so another thing that people just don't know is that Coach Prime is legitimately a football savant. He understands the game at the highest possible level. He has a master's degree in knowing ball. There's going to be times where he's able to get on that microphone and tell Shedeur the nine's going to be wide open.
Yep. It's massive. Both coaches talked about the in-helmet communication devices yesterday, or I think Livingston did at least. But either way, they've talked about it through camp. And the impact of it is going to be massive. Even Tim Pulasic talked about it in his press conference about how much easier it's made everything for them.
Yep. That's going to be such an advantage. I honestly think it's a bigger advantage for CU than any other team because of the pro coaching staff.
Yep, and the IQ.
Yep. And now Pat Shurmur talked about it. You can actually watch video on the sideline, not just pictures.
Yes.
Real-time understanding of how coverages are moving and how players are reacting. Mm-hmm. And again, Shedeur Sanders, one of, if not the smartest quarterbacks in college football when it comes to knowing what he's looking at. He is going to be able to weaponize this information.
Yep. Also, I was wrong. So when they rank the conference title winners, that's 1 through 4. So I guess whether it's the G5 or the lowest ranking conference title winner would be ranked 5th and would have to play.
Oh, it's no longer. So if the G5 winner ranks higher than.
It says the 4 highest ranked conference champions will be seeded 1 through 4 and receive a first round bye.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't say
G5.
Power 4.
Okay. Good to know.
I'm so hyped for this playoff, man. I know there's a lot of work to work out, and it's going to be chaos, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Xavier Weaver has made the Cardinals, as we talked about earlier. Real quick, what number do you think he gets? Numbers 0 through 7 are taken. 8 and 9 are available. 10 is taken. 11's available. He's got to get out of that 30.
I think he wears 11.
I think you're right. Derek McClendon was unfortunately waived, though. He was the other buff that had a real chance to make the 53-man, so we'll see where he lands now.
Good luck to him. Pulling for all these guys.
Shout out to C5 Cordale Russell. As I'm sure you saw, he posted on social media today that he's having surgery. He had a shoulder injury. It's obviously going to cut into the season. We'll see if he's able to make it back, but who knows?
Based on my understanding, he should be able to make it back during the season.
Okay. We didn't even get to this. Anything catch your eye from practice yesterday, though, that you wanted to talk about?
I don't think so, no. I did listen to your guys' show, you and Scott. It was fantastic.
Thank you.
Great job, guys.
Coach Shurmur is I asked him how confident he was in the offensive line. He said very confident. Coach Livingston heaped praise on Coach Prime for bringing him here, said he'd run through a wall for him. It's kind of it. Staub, solid QB2.
Yep.
Sounds like Cardale Thomas is really impressed and is going to be a player. Not this week, though, but in the near future for the Buffs.
Iron sharpens iron.
Mm-hmm.
You know, put those guys on notice that you're coming for their jobs.
Yep.
Can only help.
How about Coach Prime partnering with a local bank to give players who are parents $2,121?
What I love about this is just how thoughtful it was and how completely obvious it is that this was Coach Prime's idea.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say that is because he takes, fatherhood and
like mentorship,
all of this stuff just so seriously.
Yep.
And so I know he's just, thinking like, what can I do for these guys? And what can we come up with? We saw him post a tweet about it, reaching out, and was able to partner with that group to do that for those guys. And like I said, I just love it because that's like an actually thoughtful thing. It just shows how much Coach Prime loves these guys.
Yep.
And like all good things, sadly, in this world these days, I'm sure it will go highly undercovered.
I think that's it, man. It's great to have you back, though.
Great to be back. Questions?
Adam asks, will there be a bar in Dallas?
Not imminently. Yeah, I guess that's what I'll say. It's not imminently.
Okay. Artemis also asks, how was Dallas?
Dallas was awesome, man. I can't remember if I shared this detail on the show, but when I got to Dallas for the first time, I sent Shedeur a picture of the skyline and said, "Where should I eat?" And I thought he would send me like one restaurant. He sent me like a whole list.
That's his home.
Of the best spots. So I hit up a lot of the spots that he recommended. They were all very, very good. I thought Dallas was really cool. It wasn't as Texas-y as I thought it would be. Like Fort Worth is a lot more like it was very obvious you were in Texas. You could kind of get like dropped into Dallas and not exactly know you were in Texas, and if you weren't looking for it. But it was really, really cool city. Loved the hospitality, great people down there. I'll definitely be back, just to visit the market, and I'll look forward to it.
We'll be there next year.
True.
Nicholas asked what time will the show be tomorrow? As close to 3:15 as possible, as close to normal time as possible.
Yep. As you guys probably remember from last year's pregame shows, a lot of moving parts that go on, but usually it ends up being worth the wait if you do have to wait.
Yep. I'll put a tweet out again tomorrow. Big Teasy, will you publish the stops so we can do meetups? I mean, yeah.
Oh, like on the road? Mm-hmm. I was thinking it'd be cool if anyone wanted to like caravan from Denver.
Well, someone asked about that a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I remember that. We couldn't share at the time.
Yeah, so
we'll if that's something that people are interested in, DM us.
Or come to the tailgate tomorrow and let us know.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be really, really awesome. And obviously we'll do meetups in each city because we're gonna have a tailgate just off the RV. I think we even have a partner who's going to send us a grill for the tailgates that we can throw underneath.
Who's going to be grilling? Who's grill master?
I mean, you are the cook.
All right, I'll take it.
But I offered my services when this came up in the meeting. I think you were looking at your phone.
I was publishing the show, bro. By the way, we got praised in the Discord for how fast we upload the podcast after the live show.
That's all Jake. He takes that job very seriously.
I do. 5280 Ivan, what matchup are you guys looking forward to seeing the most versus NDSU?
Are we talking good matchups or favorable matchups?
I was just going to go very broad position group matchup. Colorado's offensive line versus the North Dakota State defensive line.
If we're going what we're interested in seeing the most, I would go the opposite of that. Colorado's defensive line versus North Dakota State's offensive line. Mm-hmm. But the matchup I am looking forward to the most is Colorado's wide receivers versus North Dakota State's secondary.
Yes. Did I say tailgate tomorrow? Obviously Thursday, not tomorrow.
Getting ahead of yourself.
Where'd you get your shirt from?
I believe it's, let me just double check, ss2legendary.com. Is that Shedeur's?
Sounds right. Yeah.
SS2. Let me just. I gotta. Yep. ss2legendary.com. That's Shedeur's like NIL clothing line. Always has great shit on there.
Laura, what's up? Can you guys do a show on the new playoff bracket and what it would take to get in? Clat had some interesting takes on it this week. We'll definitely cover that.
Hopefully we have no choice but to cover
it. Right, but we'll cover the playoff odds and how that's all shaken out and stuff.
This might go down as like one of the most fun years of college football ever, and we got off to an amazing start last week. I'm having withdrawals already.
Soon. Jermaine asks if I'm going to Pearl Street this season. Again, that stuff goes on during the pregame show and all that. So, unfortunately, probably not. But never say never.
You should hit up a Stampede. You might be asked to talk about it in a documentary or something.
I nailed that, though. I nailed it. Tell you what. Super chats. Sutton Death. Will there be a tailgate at the CSU game? We're still figuring out CSU.
I'm going to say no. Unfortunately. I'll just be honest. I don't think that this is going to be a particularly safe environment.
It's not going to be very friendly.
No.
Yeah.
And because of that, one, I think it would be incredibly hard for us to find space where they're going to just let, 100 Buffs fans
right.
come congregate. So, unfortunately, no tailgate. Maybe I'll tweet out where I'm
something like
hanging
that.
out before the game or something. I don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah.
It's honestly the more I've thought about this, the more this absolutely sucks that we're going to Fort Collins.
I'm not looking forward to it.
There's a lot of push for bringing the game back to campus, which is really great when it's in Boulder. But I think it actually sucks so much to have to go to Fort Collins that I don't know if the trade-off is worth it. And I know that OG Buffs fans will hate this take. I think I would maybe just take the trade of putting it back in Denver to not have to go up there.
I don't know. I think it'd be cool to see it, but it is what it is. I mean, do you think this rivalry goes on much longer?
No. And that makes me sad. I think rivalries are what make college football.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that this is going to be renewed anytime soon. We're going to go on a pretty long break here.
I agree. And
I'm just saying, getting up there, nightmare.
Yes.
And then imagine coming back after the game. What a nightmare that's going to be.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure it out so that we don't have to do that. And I think we have a pretty good plan for what we're going to do for our post-game show. But I feel bad for, just the average person who's going to drive up there and have to get on I-25 north heading back towards Denver after that game.
I-25 is going to be an absolute shit show.
Yep.
What's up, Big Teasy? Welcome back with the super sticker as well. Hippo character with stars growing in his eyes, pumping his arms in the air with the word hype pulsating above him.
Pulsating is crazy.
It's a super sticker. He didn't say that.
I'm just saying the metadata on that is crazy.
Yes. Also, are you excited about the fight song?
I've tried to let these types of things go. If they end up winning and belting the fight song out, that would be really cool. But I don't have high hopes for it, and I'm trying to just not care about things like that.
Miss Laura again. Shout out RK for the new DNVR/Neely tour bus. We need a weekly list for who we are gonna throw under the bus first. Contenders. Oh man.
That's a funny comment. We are going to stop before that, though. I'm ready to stop. I'm ready to stop talking about other media.
Yeah, no, it's over. It's done. It doesn't matter
But
anymore.
that was funny. Also, kind of a good segment.
You had a great idea that you put in the Slack one night.
Oh, yeah, we're doing that. We should actually put in a graphics request for that.
Okay.
Right after the show.
Okay. East Coast Kev asks, or with the super chat says, when Colorado starts winning, are you going to be ready for all the goalposts moving? They're going to say how easy the Big 12 is, or Prime can't win when Shedeur leaves. We went through last year. We already know that that's what's going to happen. Immediately, if Colorado on the opening drive goes and scores against North Dakota State and the score is 7-0, it's, they should have won this game anyways.
Oh, which is why receipts are so important.
Yep.
Which is why receipts are so important, because people have been talking crazy about this game. And they will immediately move the goalposts. And the goalposts, for them, have unlimited space to move. There's no place where they can't move them.
Right.
He's got a long way to go to be Nick Saban.
All that stuff.
Yep.
Last one from, we got a last minute one. So Big Teasy here. What do I need to do to donate or to get Big Teasy in the house and or Big Teasy or Big 216 Teasy on the RV? I'll sign your name on it.
You want you just want your own personal brand on the RV. You can buy that.
Don Peasy with the last one. Late to the party. Great seeing RK. Y'all see Coach Prime's response to the CU, a relevant comment. He said something like, "Yet you're talking about us. The fan only blows when you're hot. We must be hot." Classic. Yep.
Yeah, classic Coach Primeism. He didn't have to say, he was on a podcast, so he expounded. But he didn't have to say anything other than, "But you're talking about us."
Yeah.
How can you say someone's irrelevant if you're talking about them?
By the way, that was at the SEC Media Days that Paul Feinbaum was doing that.
Sure was. Can you scroll up just a little bit? I wanted to see what someone said about the fight song. Keep going. They learned the fight song out of respect. It's not a vibe, though. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. If they end up belting the fight song and pounding on the lockers after a road game, that'll be sick. But I have low expectations. We'll also see if they want to run out directly behind Ralphie this year. I have low expectations.
Camden's been leading the vibe for the fight song.
Look, let's just win.
Okay.
Just like what Shiloh and Shedeur and Coach Prime honestly have said anytime anyone asks about the uniforms. Mm-hmm. Uniforms don't win. Let's just win. And that's how I feel about the uniforms as well. I do think uniforms can help you win long term. And sometimes even short term if they're fire enough for like a one-off game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I'm worried about what's going on between the lines. And I'm trying really hard to not care about any other bull junk.
The next time we do a show in here, the Buffaloes will have played a football game.
That's true. God.
Cannot wait. Pre-game show tomorrow. I'll have an article coming out tonight before the game as well. Anything else?
Nah, man. Let go of hell.
Let go of hell. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.